Hello, everyone, and welcome along to day 2 of WFS Live. If you were here yesterday, thank you very much indeed. Consider yourself already warmed up. But to say that we are upping the pace today would be putting it mildly. We have as much as 8 different panels for you today. So you will not be lacking content. And whatever you are here for, we've got it here for you. Don't worry, you will be well fed and watered as far as content is concerned. Just a reminder that these sessions are designed to be interactive. So we really do welcome your interaction with your questions to our guests. Please use the questions tab, though. You'll see here on Swapcard that you've got chat, questions and polls. In the chat, feel free to converse amongst yourselves. It's great to have you getting excited about the sessions. That's exactly what we want. But if you have a specific question that you want to put to the panel, then please put it in the questions tabs, and also do check out our polls as well. For journalists present, you can access news wires in English, Spanish and Arabic that will be posted in the newsroom by Efe. There's also the Media Vault, which will be for our daily press releases from the main relevant panels of the day. And our media partner, SNTV, will also be distributing selected bits of our content to their clients across the globe. Video highlights of each panel, by the way, uploaded onto a Google Drive, which will be shared with the media. And elsewhere, just make sure you do spend a few minutes at least checking out the exhibitors we have in the expo area. It's what you would do if you were at an in-person event with the World Football Summit, and you can also do so here. It's a really good opportunity to see what they're up to. If you want to plug us on social media, of course, then we would love it if you could do that. We are at WF Summit on Twitter, at World Football Summit on Instagram, and the hashtag to use, the key bit, is WFS Live. We had loads of great interaction across our social channels yesterday, so we'd like to keep that up, and in fact, do it even better today if we can. And if you know someone who isn't actually signed up to this event, but they'd like to see the content, then do direct them to the Live Now Global service. It's provided on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram, and on LinkedIn. It's their way of being able to see the content, even if they're not directly a delegate here. And in fact, all delegates can watch any content that they missed 24 hours after it was originally broadcast right here on this platform. And in any case, in the days and weeks to come, you'll be able to see it on the World Football Summit YouTube channel as well. So we have all bases covered for you. And as I say, a fantastic day in store with 8 more panels coming your way. As always, we try and urge our moderators and our speakers to try and be as concise as possible as they're making their super insightful points, which I'm sure they will be, because we've got an incredibly tight schedule and a lot to get through. Okay, so without further ado, it's time to get cracking on today, picking up from where we left off yesterday, really. Who here remembers the Ice Bucket Challenge? I don't know if you remember that. It was a few years ago, a social media phenomenon back in 2014, and it was designed to raise awareness of ALS. ALS stands for amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, and it was trying to get people to raise awareness by having buckets of icy cold water poured over them and then nominating others to do the same. And so you create this chain reaction, which went around the globe several times. Although the question is, how many people did actually donate? How many people did actually look up ALS and find out more about it? In fact, one of the greatest sportsmen of all time, Roger Federer, pointed out that he wasn't going to post a video of an ice bucket challenge, but he would donate to the cause because he thought that was very much the point of the exercise. There are plenty more examples of this kind of thing. So can more be done beyond the campaign itself so that meaningful change can be effected? How can you do well as a sports figure and use that performance and platform to do good in the wider world as well? We have a few sports executives and football professionals who can give us their insights into this and the wider topic in a session entitled Beyond the Do Good Tweet, Donation or Photo Opportunity. It is in collaboration with 17 Sports. So let's introduce you to our panel for the first one today. We have the General Manager at the Johan Cruyff Institute, our academic partner, a long-time enduring supporter of World Football Summit. We're very grateful for that. Mariël Koerhuis, the founder of Axistars and the former France, Manchester United, Everton and Fulham footballer Louis Saha, a freestyle football athlete Lisa Zamouche, and to moderate for us, the co-founder and CEO of 17 Sports, Fabien Paget. Fabien, as I mentioned, we're picking up on a similar theme to where we left off yesterday. Yeah. So over to you.
Thank you, David. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to this day number 2 at the World Football Summit. I'm very excited to start the day with you and moderate this exciting panel with great panelists. So I am the co-founder and CEO at 17 Sports. 17 Sports is the world's first sports impact company working at this intersection of sports, business, and purpose. We work with progressive athletes, brands, properties, how to embrace purpose, to do well and do good. And today, as David mentioned, the panel is called Beyond the Do Good Tweet, Beyond the Donation, and Beyond the Photo Opportunity. So purpose was a big topic yesterday, and I think we will continue today this journey to talk how athletes needs to move beyond the communication piece and needs to embrace purpose in everything they do. So I'm very excited to welcome three exciting panelists here, and I will leave everyone to introduce themselves. So welcome Mariël, welcome Lisa, and welcome Luis.
Welcome, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So Mariël, in few words, can you introduce you?
Okay, thank you very much for inviting me. Very excited to take part in this panel. Well, actually, Johan Cruyff Institute, which is I have the honor to manage from headquarters in Barcelona, educates the next generation of leaders in sport management. Founded 20 years ago by former athlete and coach and visionary person Johan Cruyff, in order to, with the aim to enable dual careers for athletes. And over the last years, we have been growing to be a globalized learning organization, not only educating athletes, but also coaches and sports professionals in sport management, sport marketing, and sponsoring football business and coaching all over the world. So looking forward to this panel. Thank you.
Thank you, Mariël. Next, Lisa, you want to start?
Yeah, so I'm Lisa Zamouche. I'm from Paris, France. I'm a football freestyler, which is a mix between art and sports. So I'm half an athlete, half an artist. So yeah, my goal is to empower women, and I'm on social media. I'm putting videos. I'm working. I'm doing shows all over the world. But my main goal is to empower women.
Thank you, Lisa.
Great.
Luis?
Yeah, my name is Luis Saha. Yes, I'm a former football player. Played mainly in England, but studied in France because I'm Parisian as well, like Lisa, and finished in Italy. So I managed to had an international career. And 7 years ago, when I retired, I funded Axistars, which is here to as well empower pro athletes and artists, where we can actually educate, we can get more confidence about the skills that we need during the career, the understand you need during the life to get a better transition. So all this is based on having a control, as I say, about an environment that you will control by having like a good understanding of the people you're facing. They're all going to be vetted, and it's all going to be supported by organization. So this is the passion that I have. So in a way that is driving this awareness, because we need to change the mentality of many stakeholders.
Thank you, everybody. And it's a great segue to what I think we want to talk here. Yesterday, Juan Mata was saying that the players and the athletes need to educate themselves on the type of change they want to see in the world. I would like us to start about talking about education, because as we discussed, it's not just about communication, it's really about educating these athletes and all the individuals in the sports industry to go beyond this. Can you tell us what you're doing and if you agree with this?
Shall I start?
Mariël, yeah, go ahead. Mariël.
Yeah, was as I explained in the introduction, Johan Cruyff at some point in his life had a major concern. Well, actually, he had two big concerns. One was that how can we improve the quality of kids and young people that have perhaps different capabilities, different physical and mental capabilities, by creating space for them, and that they can, through sports, improve the quality of life. So this was the beginning of our foundation, the Johan Cruyff Foundation. And his other big social concern is how can we avoid that athletes, along the line of their sports career, that once that they retire from their sports career, or if they have an injury, they are not prepared and they don't have the academic background or the preparation to have a productive life once they retire. So this was the beginning of the Johan Cruyff Institute. What we have been doing over the last years is not only educating the athletes and giving them a safe learning environment, which means that also the way how we educate athletes is through a learning model which has to be very comfortable, but also very feeling very safe for athletes, so that they really understand the importance of combining their sports career with their studies at the same time. So this was actually the beginning of a learning model, which is very much focused on using tools where very learning by doing, very action driven, very dynamic, so that we engage the students along the line of their learning process. On the other hand, it's also very important, and we talked about when we prepared this session, is that the stakeholders within the sports ecosystem, so being the managers, for example, the coaches, the agents, but also the managers themselves who manage sports organizations, are aware of the importance and also the moral responsibility of developing players, developing athletes from a holistic point of view, so that they not only are very talented and that they can grow in their talent as athletes, but that they also become conscious human beings and are aware that when they are in the spotlights, they are also role models within society. So there is like a dual challenge we have here. On the one hand, we have the challenge that the athletes themselves are aware and willing and feel safe and make the step to work on their education whilst they are developing their sports career. And on the other hand, we have the challenge that also our ecosystem and the people, decision makers, and the opinion leaders foster this environment where they can also allocate resources in order for athletes to be able to enjoy education and go for this challenge.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think that jumping on it, because it's like definitely the thing was missing during my career. So I think as a figure, as an athlete, I'm very curious. I was challenging the actual institution because I was in a way like trying to educate myself, trying to control a bit more. And yes, it's true that maybe let's say the organization and clubs, the managers, or all those are obviously very focused on one thing, which is like performance, and rightly so. The worry that you get at some points, it's like you have that dedication, you have that focus, you have like everything like put in on the table for you. And then you get comfortable at the age of 26, 27, because this is your life. This is how you've been accustomed and educated, formatted as well to not show any weaknesses. So education, because people are going to teach you something else, so based on that, you have like a kind of like defensive mode or operating, because as well, people around you do that. Like, as I said again, right, because they want to protect the interest and dedication of these athletes. It's fine. But at the end of the day, when you become aware of all those things you will do on your own, or you will do because you have to be forced to do it, this is where there is problems. And I think in some way you need courageous people to actually open the road of this. And this is what Mariël is doing. I think in any case, anyone who's got a platforms who can make people aware about this is very important. You have to actually educate as much as the deciders who want to stay sometimes in a very comfortable situation. They work really hard, they have the diplomas, they have that life based on mortgages that they have, and they have to pay back. So all those things, you have to fight against this comfort zone. So it's not easy to educate them and say the reward will be like in 1 or 2 years or 3 years, because everybody will be happy about your service in a different way. This is our challenge, and this is where I think at some point it needs to be combined. It needs to be a unit, like everybody all together need to understand. They need to have that kind of, like I said, Mariël said it rightly, the right platform to do that, to feel comfortable, to have that confidence. And without confidence, to challenge even yourself, you're afraid. If someone tell me, oh yes, you get exposed and maybe going into a diploma, and I may show my weaknesses in some way to another athlete or to other people, it's quite tough. So this is where we need to find a way to actually aggregate all those information and market it in a way that is safe and attractive.
Yeah, I
Thank you,
agree.
Rhys.
And I think the challenge right now too is that so many young people want to act, want to speak, but they don't know how to do it. They don't have people around them who are like telling them or giving them advices on how to act or how to speak, so that they won't risk anything. They just, like for myself, I know that I wanted to work hard. I was so into my athlete life and freestyle life and traveling and stuff. But there was one point in my life where I was like, okay, but why am I doing this? Why am I working? What was my purpose in life? And so I took a time with myself and with Fabien. He was there, and I was like, okay, now I want to do something, bigger than just, putting videos on social media or traveling. And my goal was to empower women. I found this purpose, and now I'm just I'm trying to do everything in my power to make it work. But I know so many young athletes who want to speak, and at the same time they want to have a success life in the football world, but they don't know how to have this balance. And at the same time, we are all on social media, and we see what's happening right now in the world, and we are in 2020. And when we see athletes like LeBron James or Raheem Sterling speaking, we have examples, but we still have to be educated more on so many topics to speak or to act. But I think we're in a good path, and so many
Good
people,
direction.
good direction. So I think our generation, especially football athletes, they're going to speak, but we need to educate them, and that's how it's going to work.
Yeah, it's a combination of confidence.
Confidence,
Exactly, and perhaps I can add something too, because I also see a role for academic institutions, for example, like ours, in this scene, because the barriers to start studying during your sports career, or even when you've finished off your sports career, aren't that high. But it's like a perception that many athletes have, that it must be very tough, or perhaps I just finished off high school, how I'm going to do a master program, for example. But so there is, I also think, a responsibility for academic institutions to also facilitate the access and the facilitate the start studying with the academic institutions. I think that what we have always been very clear, that we wanted to be inclusive, and that the reason why we are is because we want to enable dual careers. So it means that we will always be inclusive for athletes. And even over the past years, we have been launching our own scholarship fund, for example, the Cruyff Athlete Fund, which is very much focused on, for example, athletes as of the age of 30 years who are making the transition from their sports career to a professional life, and also some athletes of minority sports and other athletes who have very specific characteristics and motivation to continue their studies. And I think we have an obligation here to do that, because we have very marvelous examples. When I was going over our alumni, for example, you can see athletes and football players like, for example, Edwin van der Sar, who did our Master in Sport Management program in Amsterdam in English language, or Memo and Joa, who did a postgraduate degree in football business in Spanish online on the virtual campus with us. There are many examples of sports people that have been combining their sports career and have been preparing themselves. And so I think it's also like the perception of many athletes that it's not that hard to get studying. You just have to have very clear that and be very convinced that it's important for your life during sports or after sports.
Thank you, Mariël. Of course, it's always more easy for athletes to speak out and to, let's say, communicate on Twitter, Instagram about the type of change. But I think we are very careful today that about authenticity. People have, make sure they want to make sure that athletes are very authentic and align everything they do in life with their commitment to make the world a better place. So I think athletes need to embrace that purpose. How do you think they can move forward, and how you think athletes can start putting action first instead of the words?
So I would maybe jump on this in a way that the better example for me is Marcus Rashford has his own platform where he can start like doing some good because he's well supported. We really think that having again, it's like having a kind of like community all together, sharing all these ideas, all these kind of like about causes, about things need to be done, needs to be innovated. I think in so many ways, like where we say about courageous, the people that are athletes, they have a tool, they have, like Mariël said, like qualities they underestimate, and we need to actually put them in front of that and say, listen, you had on it, and on a very secure environment as well, again, to get those guys all together having confidence about it and speak in a way that like the interaction become a learning school. It's like this is the first maybe platform that they get, and then obviously this like discussion go on with any institute, including the Johan Cruyff one as a good one. It's very important to actually like having some role models. We are saying that those people are here in the same environment, and they can now feel like as the social media work as like an incentive, something like, oh, everyone liking something. We do the same because we are in the same kind of like environment. I trust this environment to be now myself. I could be authentic because of that. Because if I feel like someone sold me something and said to me something with interest behind it, I may be afraid still. Those are moments where by being together, we can really open the decision like true, and this is what I think it's missing. And if it's done by this itself, it's even stronger message. And this is what I see every day.
Yeah. Lisa, question to you. I know you are very careful about putting action first. You're doing quite a lot. Can you tell us exactly what you're doing today, and how you make sure you align everything you do, from the sponsors you get, from the decision you take every day?
So yeah, I'm doing my best to now put my purpose first before my work, or to combine both my work and my purpose. So everything I'm trying to do every time I work with a brand, for example, EA Sports, I'm just trying to make sure that my purpose is mixed with my work. So as Lisa said, I think authenticity being genuine is important. If you support something, if you want to speak about an issue, a social issue, it has to be authentic, because people will feel it. And action too. I think being on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook is very important. You have a platform, so it's important for you to speak. But action, to me, means maybe more than just words. Like being on the field, to speak with people, and to be like to be with young women, to show them, to just try to explain your story, inspire them like I was inspired by women. So it's just something that I want to do more. I'm working with Loris, I'm working with Common Goal, and hopefully in 2021 I will be able to travel and do more actions that I couldn't do in 2020, unfortunately. But yeah, my goal is just to mix my work with my purpose, and I think that's the greatest thing, and it makes me happy. And now I just it's just being I just want to make this world a better place, and if I can make it with my discipline, that's the best thing. I think that's the best thing I can do. So yeah, being on social media is good, but actions are even more important.
Well done.
Thank you, Lisa.
And yeah, as a woman,
Mariël,
yeah. Sorry.
Mariël, what do you think on this?
Well, I think it's a great example. I really I celebrate this, and what I think that nowadays there are such big opportunities for athletes like Lisa, that really being able to create own content, which is good content, and where, as I can see from what Lisa explains us, that everything is aligned. So she's very clear about the definition of her purpose. She's very clear about the action that she takes, the processes that she begins, how she's going to even assess herself on if she is accomplishing her objective or not. So actually, it's very much aligned. And I think there's a big opportunity. Of course, we have already been seeing lately over the last years that athletes are creating their own content, but it's been reinforced lately, I think, reaching out to large audiences worldwide. So it's a big opportunity, and so congratulations. I can support from all sides. Yeah.
We had
I just jump on.
an interesting question. Yeah, go ahead, Louis.
No, I just jump on the action of Lisa on the Common Goal and Loris and all those great institutions, especially about the sport. It's really important that those people who are going into those projects are really, let's say, highlighted, and jump again on what John Mata done, because he was the first ambassador for Common Goal, for example. It's great for people to understand that basically people talk at least way more, I would say, about Joan Mata, about his action. So even he was maybe not playing as much, he used to be a World Cup, he's a World Cup winner, but he used to be on the front page all the time because of his performances, but now a bit less. And he managed to actually done some great things with Common Goal, and actually people were talking about it because he's actually doing some really, really good stuff with this association. And this is what people need to understand. You should not be ashamed to do good. And this is what the call is, allow those institutions, like whatever we call it in sport, it could be FIFA, NBA, or whatever, they need to understand and they need to emphasize that. People need to embrace that. It could not be stopped by commercial deals that stop them to do that. This is what I really jump on this, and it should be welcome, Lisa, and anyone who wants to do good stuff out there, because this is the way we can change things. If we just go about the multi-capitalist things approach, it's not going to actually change too much.
And I
you
think
can see actually that Yeah, go ahead, Lisa. Sorry.
Are you going to say it? I know.
Yeah, I
I
think
think brands
go
now,
for it.
but yeah.
Yeah, you can see it's a
But
driver
the
of
one that said
business. I
anything.
mean, doing good. I mean, if you do good today, if you're very authentic, I think the brands are looking for this type of platforms.
Yeah.
We have an interesting question from the audience. Coming back to the education, is there a book or a podcast or something you will recommend an athletes to read or to buy or to listen to educate themselves on purpose?
Wow, there is a lot of material available, and there are a lot of webinars actually as a consequence of COVID-19 that are available online. Actually, we have been launching a webinar series specifically which are free and open. So I would recommend, for example, to visit our YouTube channel, but also our website where we have content available and interesting for athletes, but also for sports people in general on different themes. So yeah, I would recommend it. Recommend this.
I would recommend
So
Axistars to join Axistars because all kids can come and educate themselves by having other actual members sharing their stories and having certain type of webinars where the actual stars can channel what any partners have like come up with a solution, like as well the reinsurance that's used by an athlete. So all those setups are done, but there is like many a platform that you just need to be curious about it.
I'm taking note, guys. I'm taking notes because
I like that.
same thing. I didn't have the chance to have like a book or a YouTube channel to educate me. But thank my family, like my family and my friends were around me to just try to speak about social issue. And I had Fabien who helped me on how to speak and how to. But that's very important to have like books or people who like teaching you something that you don't know. And yeah, thank you.
we have a platform at 17 Sports called legacysports.org that I recommend also if you want to have a look. Legacysports.org, where you can have all podcasts from great leaders in the sports industry, athletes, to talk about it. So go, feel free to jump in.
Thank you very much indeed, Fabien. Yeah, sadly we have run out of time, but I think just to kind of
Sorry,
riff
David.
on what you guys were saying there. No, not at all, not at all. I think it was a really engaging discussion. I wish we'd had more time. I think, well, Jan Alessi, the WFS co-founder and director, alluded to this in his opening speech yesterday, which was The Power of Sport, which is the famous speech made by Nelson Mandela, the inaugural laureate World Hall of Fame Awards, if you like. And it was back in 2000. It is one of the most spine-tingling, incredibly inspiring speeches that you can ever see. It's not that long. You can see it on YouTube. Just go and look for it. And I think actually, you know what, Lisa, just hearing you speak, you may not have had a certain book or a YouTube channel, but my goodness, aren't you an inspirational person for millions and millions and millions of people out there, particularly young girls? I mean, you're such a credit to your generation for what you're doing. You are really leading by example. So I'm sure you could write a book and someone else would probably use it as their kind of mantra, if you like. And you spoke so beautifully on purpose. And I think, how you want your purpose to sing through in everything that you do, how you want it mixed with the work. And, it doesn't matter who you're representing, be it a purpose-driven organization like Laureus, like Common Goal, or a brand like EA Sports. I'm sure you're not short of those offers, but that has to be an absolutely non-negotiable in what you do. That's such a powerful message to send out there. It really is. And as you alluded to, and I think this came through yesterday as a little bit as well, purpose can be strategic. It's not a CSR thing. It's not just a box that needs to be ticked so that your brand looks a bit better. It can actually attract a new audience, a new fan, because you are putting yourselves out to be, this way. You think something is important. From Louis, we heard about education being important for people to feel comfortable, to feel confident, to be in a place where they know they're putting their head above the parapet when they speak about something. There are inherent risks that come with that. We discussed that at length yesterday as well. And from Mariël, obviously, representing the academic institution and the Johan Cruyff Institute, the importance of being inclusive, but that the opportunities are there. Athletes need to know that's what they want to do. And I suppose it comes off Louis' point about feeling comfortable and knowing what your why is, what your purpose is, but that the opportunities absolutely are there. And having worked with the Cruyff Institute myself and being part of the webinar series, in fact, that Mariël was alluding to, I can absolutely endorse that as a really good resource worth checking out. Great way to start off day 2, guys. Really, really appreciate it. Fabien, thank you so much for guiding the conversation so
Thank you,
expertly.
David, and
really
thank
do
you
appreciate it.
That was great.
No worries.
Everybody.
Okay, so we are underway on WFS Live Day 2, and we're going to be back in about 5 minutes' time as we move on to the topic of new monetization opportunities in football in collaboration with Next Sports. We'll see you in a couple of ticks.